Hi everyone, this is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and today we have Julia Young Hayes then. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. So you're into aquatics then?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's kind of not as known in the massage field, so I want to be educated in this area.
Well, great.
Yep.
Great. Well, I'm kind of a water baby. I'm known as the Aqua Woman.
Okay.
I have been a pioneer in aquatic therapy for over 45 years.
Okay.
And I have been a part of every organization that has aquatics.
Okay.
I've been on every board. I have started programs. And as you can tell, I'm really enthusiastic and passionate about my work.
Yeah.
But I guess the best way to tell you a little something about it is when I'm an exercise physiologist. I've got a master's degree in exercise phys.
Okay.
So I've always worked with the body in some way. And basically I taught adapted physical education, and I did all kinds of teaching in the field of the body and so forth. And I hurt my back in 1980. And when I hurt my back, I couldn't walk. And long story short, I started to water walk. Because water was always something that I was familiar with.
I never heard that term, that sounds cool.
Water walking is actually almost exactly as it sounds.
Okay.
You know, people do a lot of rehabilitation in water because if you walk forward and backward and sideways and ups and downs and shallow water, deep water, and mid water, then there's a lot of training effects that they do. Actually, I'd like to tell you this facet. I was taught to swim by the United States Olympic coach when I was 3 years old. And that was a long time ago.
I won't miss your age. Yeah.
And so then I became a competitive swimmer all through the college years and a national breaststroke champion. And so I was swimming. And most people, when they think of aquatics, they think of swimming. They don't think of exercise, or they don't think of therapy, and they certainly don't think of massage in the water.
Yep.
So there's a lot to it. And then after my college years is what I'm kind of alluding to when I said in the 80 or so. long time ago, I basically had hurt my back. And having always been a competitive swimmer and a synchronized swimmer and you name it swimmer, a scuba diver, anything to do with water, I didn't know what to do. So when I got out of the hospital from traction, I found the water. But I couldn't swim because I couldn't bend my body forward to swim. So I started to water walk. And that's how I rehabbed my back.
Okay.
And I had back surgery, and within 6 weeks, I was completely fine.
And one of the coolest things I've seen in the water is the treadmill in the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are just cool.
That's one of the things I'm giving information about.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So after I found the water walking worked, you know, and before that I did swimming, teaching swimming and rehabilitation in the water. In other words, if someone had a neck or a joint of any type that was bothersome, usually in this day and age we go to the physical therapist, which is great, but if they try aquatic therapy, we do things that is miraculous that the physicians, even those that are aware of it, are completely astonished by.
Isn't it a lot safer on your joints too?
Absolutely.
Like that, so,
yeah, the water buoyancy, why it works is the water has buoyancy for the body, which makes us feel good. We don't feel like we're sweating, even though you do sweat in the water.
Yeah.
And then,
you don't realize it though.
Not at all. That's why people like it so much, because usually it's warm and then they don't sweat.
Yeah.
But you actually do sweat.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I would basically start the rehab I'd been doing. In other words, for myself as well as for many people all over the country for quite a few years. And then I'm trying to progress to this. You know swimming, people know swimming.
Yep.
Then rehab started, and then I was teaching my adapted physical education and adapted aquatics. And then after that happened, I found the wonderful presence about 22 years ago. Watsu was introduced.
Yep.
And it was introduced in this country by Harold Dull,
Yep.
a gentleman from Harmon Springs out in California. And he is the founder of Watsu. But what's interesting is it actually is a Japanese cultured activity. And he brought it to the United States, so he gets the credit of being our father of Watsu. And what's fascinating is, to massage therapists, that's basically all I ever hear from anywhere, anyone across the country, is, oh, you do Watsu? And that is just such a small piece of what water therapy and water exercise and the healing properties of water.
Yeah.
So leading up to why I'm here now, at the World Massage Festival. I've taught this before in Panama City when they had that and we had a great outcome. And what's interesting about aquatic therapy is it's such healing work that it changes people's lives forever. It's pretty obvious that we're born from water, meaning in the womb, you're in a water saline environment, which by the way, the pools are going saline as well. Most pools today are saltwater pools.
Is that safer then?
It's absolutely more healing. Okay. It's less toxic because many people have formaldehyde allergies and they get different rashes. Actually, I work with the CDC in Atlanta in reference to aquatic therapy. And what we found is things like cryptosporidium and other horrible sounding organisms live in water from time to time, and of course E. coli and other things. And so with them, we now have a national model of aquatic therapy in which we are organized with the CDC and another organization called the NSPF, the National Swimming Pool Foundation, in which I'm actually an inspector, a licensed inspector for water.
I love your energy about this. I mean,
I'm passionate.
Huge. You can tell.
But you know what's so funny? As a massage therapist and all these other things I've mentioned, I'm a type A individual on land, and yet in the water, I'm about as laid back, calm, cool, collected as people don't believe me. But I really am. It's a very nice balance. I have my yin and my yang.
Okay.
Absolutely. In my practice, I have what's called surf and turf.
Okay.
And surf and turf obviously means that I have natural massage on land.
Yep.
that's the turf aspect. Yep. And then the surf is always in the water.
Yep.
Whether it be an ocean, a lake, a stream, a pool, wherever.
So you use some of these kind of equipments then?
Yeah, what's fascinating, I was leading up to that, simply that in the course, I teach a 16-hour course that's NCBTMB approved. I'm an approved provider as well as other credentialing agencies in the country. And basically what happens is in the first part of the 16 hours, you learn all the standards of aquatic therapy. You learn a lot of the basics because unlike a massage on land, you can breathe and you can enjoy it and relax and go into what we call the zone. But in the water, you do go into the zone. Actually, 90% of all people have emotional releases in water, which makes it extremely powerful, extremely life-changing events. But you can't breathe underwater. So there's a trust element to water therapy that is very unique, which leads towards aquatics and massage.
And I've had Watsu quite a few times, and it's just, for myself, it's just so hard to let go.
It's a trusting.
But over time, I mean, eventually you just let it go. But the thing is, definitely start off with the first time I was just, you gotta really trust that person.
Well, that is pretty obvious that you need a full intake. In other words, the questions that we ask for an intake in water is a little different from those we ask for the person on the land. And that one of the major things is I eliminate, I don't ever say it's me, but it's my belief system, that, it's a very unique opportunity for healing to take place, because when a person can totally relax and unwind and release, 90% of people will do so. So it's an incredibly powerful modality. And more and more, it's becoming a modality that massage therapists are at least touching. And I'm the lone stranger in this field, but I'll tell you what, I merge massage therapy with aquatic therapy and the rehabilitation, etc., that I've spoken of. So leading to the equipment, long story, leading to equipment. Most people are fully aware. This is the most prevalent object.
And it's the noodle, right?
It is the noodle, but let me tell you quickly. And let's see, you have about 3 hours with me, right? But the noodle is something for $2. Anybody gets it at Walmart. Well, what people don't know, one of the facet, is that 18 years ago, water professionals, we created what was called the woggle. And the woggle, these hold 250 pounds. The woggle will hold up to 620 pounds. And the woggle is a little bit longer. These are typically 5 feet long. The woggle was introduced by us as 6 feet long, slightly wider than the cheap noodles of today. And they cost roughly about $8 to $10 a piece. So they're not too expensive, but they're substantially better, especially for the obese, for men or for people that sink, because there's 2% of the population that sink.
Yep.
Because of dense body tissue,
Yep.
not because of.
Okay.
They could be here too, but I don't know. But anyway, the reason why I have a noodle today is because what everybody does is they play on them, they sit on them. Well, for aquatic therapy, what you want to do is you want to cut them in half or cut them into quarters, and then you can utilize them to float the joints, which is the beginning parts of water dance and also the Watsu term. Even though I say that reluctantly, only because the techniques that I introduce and my students experience are things like Vasatansan, which is a totally underwater approach. Totally underwater. In a 30-minute session, they're underwater 12 to 14 minutes.
Wow.
So that's a kind of
a
brain teaser. No, actually, it's a beautiful thing that I just mentioned briefly, that the therapist breath control is exactly that, in tune with the client. Because I started to say a little while ago that on land you breathe, but in water there's a lot of training that has to be given to the individuals for a class or an individual session about breathing. But the nice thing is you're always supine.
Okay.
Unless you do Vasatansan, which is another approach.
Oh, that's cool.
Vasatansan, and that it's a wonderful Swiss oriented modality, and it's an amazing thing. Another thing we do is called Achi, which is water shiatsu, and I teach them that, and that's a beautiful dance in the water. That's very soul introspective as well as relaxing.
Is this the Watsu pools and it's a warmer temperature too or something?
Watsu pools are normally 92 to 96 degrees. Okay. So it's less than your body temperature, but it sure is nice and warm. It's a nice warm condition. You can do things in a variation of these techniques in your own therapeutic pool. In your backyard, your own home pool. You can do the same things in a whirlpool. So there's many opportunities that I teach in the course as well. But getting back to my equipment, my show and tell. You have the noodle that floats the joints.
You get energy.
So you have this to float joints. So anybody can float somebody in the water and enjoy it, as long as they're comfortable with it. Now we have the water vest. This is an aqua jogger water vest. You'll notice as my therapist will watch this is really good for lumbar stabilization for the back. We do a lot of stabilization in the water because of the buoyancy factor. People float and they tend to move. Well, we teach them how to control that. And so the aqua jogger belts are very nice. They keep people in deep water for water running. You said you hadn't heard of water walking. Well, water running is a whole different class that can be taught and is very therapeutic. We also put weights on people on the joints, actual weights. And you think, weights underwater? No. What they do in deep water is we put a vest on you, we put joint tractional devices, and we actually have full body traction. From the neck down. So that they're breathing again. That's important. So that's an example of that. And then finally I brought just something that you see at almost every university pool or every public pool. A lot of people, you can buy them inexpensively, and you can get them anywhere. But these are two examples of two different types of buoys. And these are water buoys, and they're of different strengths. You can actually have 3 different strengths in the water, and they're designed for strength training and rehabilitation. So this is an example of rehab where a person you can put them under a joint, you can put them under a knee for flotation as well. But anytime you're pulling through the water with resistance, that's why it works. So this is the rehab. This was fun and traction. Again, more rehab, but water running, strength training, conditioning, exercising. My sports massage therapists use these a lot. Or I should say, the massage therapists haven't really used it a lot because we're trying to teach them. But the noodle is for relaxation. So you see, you get a full body, mind, spirit approach to water. Water is unique. Everyone needs to try it. If you're afraid of water, which I deal with constantly with people.
And the next time I interview you, I want to try it in the water and see how you are.
Oh, absolutely. You'll probably fall asleep. But in that dreamlike state.
Yep, exactly. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you then?
The best way is my email, and that's jhayes20@bellsouth.net. Because I'm an emailer. I talk every day on email. Because I like the control of having the time that I have. But that's the best way.
Perfect.
Or you can get me online as well. I find if you just Google my name, then all my things are there.
Do that, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
It's been an
Oh.
extreme pleasure.
Are you sure you're relaxed?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks everyone. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I could have just kept going on
Yeah.
and on and on and on and on.
Wow, you got energy, I love it.
Well, only a man.
Yep.